Hello and welcome to Teach Up, where we show you how to do well on the AP Calculus test and to do it fast. We'll solve the following problem. The intermediate value theorem guarantees a value c such that g of c is equal to 0 for g of x is equal to 3x squared plus x minus 5 on which of the following interval. Now, we need to understand what the intermediate value theorem says. It just says when we have a function that is continuous on an interval, then that function will take on every value on that interval. Now, for these types of functions, such as a quadratic function, we know that for the quadratic function to equal 0 at some point, that means that one thing that could guarantee it would be if the quadratic function is positive in that interval and then goes from positive to negative inside of that interval, then we would know for sure it would have to equal 0 at some point, and vice versa. So it could have been one of the values is first positive and then there's another value inside of that interval that's negative. So what we're going to have to do is just take a look at the function evaluated at each one of these and just see where it's going to go from either positive to negative or negative to positive. So let's start with g of -1. Here, note, I actually don't really need to know what the value is. I just need to know if it's positive or negative. So -1 to the second power is going to be a positive 1 times 3. 3 minus 1 is going to be a 2. 2 minus 5 is going to be a negative number. So we just want to do it as fast as we can without making mistakes. So g of -1 will be negative. What about g of 0? Well, g of 0 is going to be also negative. So we're just going to say that's less than 0. What about g of 1? So g of 1 is going to be 1 to the second power is 1 times 3. 3 plus 1 is 4. 4 minus 5 is going to be a negative number. What about g of 2? So far, we're finding that all of these values are negative, so we haven't gone from negative to positive yet. G of 2, you take 2 to the second power, you get a 4. 4 times 3 is 12. 12 plus 2, 14. And then when you take away 5, you're going to get a positive number. So for the first time, we actually went from negative to positive. There's a switch of signs, and we do see that there's one of the options there was the interval from 1 to 2. And since this function, quadratic function, is continuous over 1 to 2, then for the function to go from negative to positive, that means there has to be a value c for the function to be 0. That means that's going to be our answer.